Hello students, welcome back. So in the last session we have discussed about the genetics, isn't it, or heredity. Now in this session we are going to deal with evolution. Okay, so what is evolution? Everybody will be very eager in learning about the evolution, isn't it? We just want to know from which organism we human being came, like that. And also for all these questions we have an answer in this session. So the first one, evolution, change in the inherited characteristics of biological populations over successive generation. Okay, so over successive generations, say for example initially bacteria were came as a life in this world. Then the bacteria is the unicellular prokaryote. Then slowly from the unicellular prokaryote, unicellular eukaryotes came. Then from the unicellular eukaryote, multicellular organisms like fungi. Then from that, plants, animals, like that. And even in the animals in the early stage, just poriferans, coelentrates, a very, very, smaller or primitive form of animal. Then slowly, like Annelida, arthropoda, echinodermata, mollusca, and we cardates. In the cardates also initially fishes came. After fishes amphibians came. Then from the amphibians reptiles came, and from the reptiles apes, and from the apes mammals came. Okay, the evolution was it is like that, and it's a very, very interesting topic to learn, students. We'll see. So first, consider a growing population of red beetles living in bushes with green leaves. Imagine that crows eat them. So three situations can occur, and these three situations with three events actually. The first situation is natural selection, and the second situation is genetic drift, and the third situation is non-genetic variation. So what are the three things? First situation, natural selection. Second situation, genetic drift. Third situation is non-genetic variation. This is again a definite question, students. Okay, they will be giving you the incident and you have to tell whether it is a natural selection, genetic drift, or non-genetic variations. We will see one by one. So the first situation is natural selection. A heritable color variation arises. Here you can see there are beetles, okay, red beetle and green beetle, and as I have told you, these green or red beetles are in the bushes. So this green beetle will be camouflaged to the leaves of the bushes, isn't it? This is camouflage. So the crow couldn't see this green beetle. So it can clearly see this red beetle. So now you tell me, the crow will eat which beetle, red or green? The green is camouflaged, so it couldn't see the green beetle. So obviously the crow will eat all the red beetles. Okay. So the population of this green beetle will slowly increase, isn't it or not? So here it is, the crow is actually naturally selecting. Okay, here the nature is selecting that the red beetle, okay, population has to decrease and the green beetle's population has to increase. Is it clear? Yes, you can see that here, students. This is the first situation. Okay, the natural selection is exerted by the crows here. Naturally it is selecting because of the camouflage. This green is camouflaged to the green bushes, so it couldn't see this green color, so it is eating this red. So after some time you can see only green beetle population. This is the first situation, that is natural selection. Then we will move on to genetic drift. Genetic drift, here the color variation, the blue beetle arises. If an elephant stamps on bushes, okay, you have to, genetic drift means it is a critical situation. Maybe I can say a bottleneck situation. Okay, a bottleneck situation where only a few organisms can escape from this. Say for example, if the temperature of the earth is very high, only the organism which can tolerate the wide range of temperature can survive. Other organisms have to leave this world, isn't it? So that is genetic drift, and even you can say it's a bottleneck effect. Okay. So here an elephant stamps on the bushes. Initially there are places where we have red beetles and only one blue beetle is there, and an elephant is stamping here. So imagine in this place, it is accidental. The elephant is not doing it purposefully. Okay, it is accidental. As I have told you, the elephant is stamping in this place. If it is stamping in this place, more number of red beetle will be prevalent. But this is stamping on this place. So the red beetle will die and the blue beetles will survive. These blue color beetles are the founders of the next generation. So the next generation beetles will be entirely blue in color. So this is genetic drift or accidental. Okay, here you can see the elephant is stamping in this place. That's why this blue escaped in this accident. So these beetles are the founders of the next generation. So the next generation will be blue in color. Okay, so the blue colored beetle accidentally survived in this place. So if it is stamping on the red beetle will die. That is the second thing. Then we will see the third situation, that is non-genetic variation. Here the genetics has to do, it is non-genetic. Like here you can see the acquired traits cannot be passed from one generation to the next. In the last class itself, I have clearly explained what is an inherited trait and what is an acquired trait. Inherited means genes. Okay, through the genes that character is transferred. Here non-genetic variation means the character is not because of the genes, it is because we are getting it. After birth we are getting it. Like singing, dancing, music, swimming, anything. Okay, see here. The acquired traits cannot be passed from one generation to the next. The bushes are affected by a plant disease, reducing the amount of leaf material. So here there is a condition that the leaves are affected. Okay, the bushes are affected by a plant disease, so that the beetle is not getting enough food. So because of the poor nourishment, the weight of the beetle changes. It reduces in size. Can you see here? This is the third situation. Non-genetic variation. Due to plant disease, there is no leaves for these beetles to eat. So it reduced in size. Okay, it got reduced in size. And after some generation, if the plant disease is eliminated, the leaf food is increased, so the beetles will gain weight. For some generation, it is poorly nourished, so the weight will be reduced. But it has a nice gene or a good gene, a weight gain gene inside the body. So once the condition is stabilized, and again the weight of the beetle will be increased. This is non-genetic variations. So in the evolution we have learned three things. One is like here genetic drift, natural selection, non-genetic variations. Okay. Then variations during asexual reproduction. The next topic is variations during asexual reproduction. So in asexual reproduction, the DNA gets copied. During the copying, some errors occur. This will result in variation. So here you can see, students, actually it is asexual, isn't it? It is just fission. Okay, fission. So binary fission, we are getting two organisms but during the DNA copying there is some errors. Because of these errors we got blue color long arm. Okay, that is variations from asexual reproduction. Next, acquired and inherited traits. So what is acquired trait? The trait which we acquire after birth. Inherited traits is because of the genes. So Charles Robert Darwin set out on a 5-year voyage, okay, to South America and proposed the idea of evolution of species by natural selection. Okay, so you should mention this name, Charles Darwin. He should he have proposed the idea of natural selection. Then JBS Haldane, he suggested that life developed from inorganic molecules. Do you have any idea how life came? Because there are many evidences, many theories, even I can't say evidence, okay, theories. Some people will say God has created the world. Am I right? Or some people will say the life originated from other planets. And some people will say the life originated from non-living thing, abiogenesis. Okay? But JBS Haldane said the life came from inorganic molecules which is present in the ocean. Okay? Then, but he didn't prove it actually. The people who proved it was Stanley Miller and Harold Urey. So that experiment is known as Urey-Miller's experiment. Okay, they have proved in the laboratory that the life developed from inorganic molecules. We'll see how. So Stanley Miller and Urey assembled an atmosphere similar to that of primitive Earth or early Earth. Do you know what is primitive Earth, students? Before the living organisms came, the atmosphere was reduced atmosphere. Reduced means there is no free oxygen, only hydrogen was present. Okay, there is no free oxygen, only hydrogen was present. So the water vapor at that time NH3, CH4, H2S, but no oxygen. Okay, in the atmosphere there were no oxygen. The sparks were passed through this gas mixture to stimulate the lightning. So at the end of the week, 15% of carbon converted to amino acids. So in this experiment, he initially sent only these things. Okay, water vapor, NH3, CH4, H2O. But he got amino acids. So the amino acid is the basic biomolecule which is present in a living organism. In our cell we have proteins, carbohydrates, isn't it, and fatty acids. So to form proteins we need amino acid. So amino acid came. So like this only the life originated. Okay. So JBS Haldane says that life originated from inorganic molecules. So this is the setup which has been created by Urey and Miller. They have sent only CH4, NH3, H2, water vapor. They sent, and in the experiment after 1 week they got amino acid. Amino acid, and later on, after sometimes they were doing these experiments again and again, and in one more experiments they got like sugars, bases, like that. So this proves that the life originated from the inorganic molecules. Okay, is it clear, students? Yeah. Now mechanisms of evolution. So the mechanism of evolution, these are, one is mutation, other one is natural selection, genetic drift and migration. Okay, these are the means of evolution actually. One mutation. Mutation means a sudden change. Okay, say for example, amphibians, frog is there. From the frog, a sudden changes occur that leads to the formation of a reptile. And again, from the reptile, again another change leads to the formation of aves. Okay, aves evolved from it. Again another mutation. From the aves, mammals came. Okay, so mutation, that is about the mutation. And natural selection and genetic drift, just now we saw, isn't it? Migration is moving from one place to another place. That also leads to evolution. Say for example, a goat which is living in this plain region. Okay, it is migrating to some other very hilly places. After some time it will slowly evolve into, like, it has to develop good wool and all, isn't it, just to cope up with that situation and survive. So it will slowly it will evolve into a sheep, isn't it? So that is migration. So we will see one by one. Mutation, change in the DNA sequence, generates variation and evolution of a single green blue beetle, which later give rise to more. Even in the previous example also we saw, okay, there were fully red beetle, only because of mutation one blue beetle, and after some time the entire generation has a blue beetle. Mutation is a sudden change in the DNA sequence that result in changes in the character. Then natural selection. So changes in frequency of some genes in a population which give survival advantage. For example, evolution of finches with larger beaks or evolution of green beetles. Okay, say for example, in the bushes there were two beetles, green beetle. Okay, in the bushes there were two beetles, green beetle and blue beetle, green and blue. Okay, so green and blue. So this green has the survival advantage because it is camouflaged to the green leaves so that the predators couldn't see that. So that is natural selection. The nature will select one organism over another organism. That is natural selection. And the next one is genetic drift. Here, change in frequency of some lucky genes in a population, even though these do not give any survival advantage. Actually, we have seen this example also, lucky genes, because there were bushes, red beetle and blue beetles were there. Elephant stamped on the red beetle. So blue beetle, actually it doesn't have any survival advantage, but luckily it got escaped. That is genetic drift. Okay. Then the next one is migration, movement by organisms from one place to another place. There they will develop some specific characteristics. That is migration. Okay. So now acquired traits and inherited traits. Acquired traits are the traits acquired by organism during their lifetime. Say for example, if I am learning music, will I pass this character to my next generation? Definitely no. As I told you, acquired characteristic is the one which we are getting or which we are learning after birth. So definitely I am not going to pass this to my next generation genetically. Okay, maybe the ideas and all we can pass, that is different, but genetically it is not possible. If a person is a doctor, can we say that definitely their progenies are going to be a doctor? No, because the learning something or doing something is acquired trait. So they cannot pass this to the next generation. And some of the examples, the muscles of the weightlifter. Okay, this definitely cannot pass to the next generation unless and until even they have to go to gym and practice more exercises. Then only this character will be passed to the next generation. And scars, okay, if we have an accidental scars somewhere definitely this couldn't be passed to the next generation. And length of the hair, okay, how well we are growing, maybe the texture and the color you can say it is passed, but the length, okay. So these are some of the acquired traits. And inherited traits, yes, traits controlled by the genes, this can be passed from the parent to the offspring. So as I told you, natural hair color, shape of the earlobe, you can see here students, free earlobe, and this is attached earlobe. So this character can also be passed, okay. And eye color, brown, black or blue, eye color, feet shape, or some of the examples that the characters can be inherited, okay, or transferred or passed to the next generation. So with this I am completing my today's session. So in this session we have learnt about three things: genetic drift, natural selection, and non-genetic variations also. And apart from that, we have also learned what is an acquired trait and what is an inherited trait, and the mechanism of evolution also. Okay, I hope this video will be very useful for you in learning all these concepts. Thank you for watching this session.